Well, again, welcome everyone to the Business Freedom Formula channel. My name is John Arns, and tonight our guest is LaShon Smith. Welcome, LaShon. Glad to see you.
Thank you so much for having me, John. I really appreciate this is the first time I've been able to kind of talk about my business publicly, so it's definitely an honor to be here.
Well, thank you. So LaShon, before we get going, tell me, are you working on anything exciting in your business right now?
Yes, I am. Right now, my business is kind of a one of one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the whole thing is just extremely exciting to bring this thing forward. So the answer to that question is absolutely yes, and I can't wait to kind of peel back the curtain
Okay.
a little bit more.
All righty. Well, here's your opportunity to peel it back a little bit. Why don't you tell us about it, what you do, how it works? Because I have looked at your website a little bit, so I've had a chance to kind of preview what you do.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for checking that out. And it's been growing and shaping up and it's coming together beautifully every day. So again, my name is LaShon Smith. I am the founder and CEO of Revovend Eco. And what Revovend Eco is, it is a basically a revolutionary um way to bring event hosts, business owners, and contractors, or what we would call gig workers, all into one ecosystem. And we're changing the way businesses see vendor events and allowing them to kind of plug and play in a nomadic business model is what I like to call it.
Okay.
Um, so in a nutshell, Revovend is a digital marketplace that connects again three groups: business owners, event hosts, and gig contractors to make vending at events possible from anywhere. You've heard of remote this, virtual that, and it is that, but there's the other two pieces that have always been missing from this equation. And I guess technology had to bring us to this time because Uber and Lyft and iView and places like that have actually helped me connect the dots to bring it all into the Revovend ecosystem. Um, the problem that Revovend solves, it it basically eliminates you having okay, so vendor events, first of all, let me roll back just a little bit. Vendor events and the vending economy is a $10 billion industry. You have platforms that offer some services, but not all three in one place. So you have Eventbrite, which is, an event marketplace. You have event management systems. You have all of these wonderful platforms, but you don't have the three cohesive sides to make it more adventurous and actually make it safe, and there's like more accountability inside of the ecosystem that we've created. It's the first app that handles everything end to end: finding events, hiring help, processing payments, tracking sales, and even running vendorless tables if that's an option at some events. And the products can sell itself, and it's all able to be set up through the app. Revovend removes the barrier. It also gives people who might be physically disabled a chance to get in on vendor events. Um, because again, you can vend remotely, you can hire someone to stand in for you, but not just anyone. You get to actually train them on product knowledge through the app. It is very important because again, there's apps that kind of have all these things, but there was no governing and no accountability. Like, you can look at Craigslist. Craigslist paved the way for a lot of apps that were born, including Revovend, because it did have like a plethora of different offerings that you could find: jobs there, events there, whatever. But again, there's no governing authority. So now it's become a place where you have to be really careful because, there's a lot of scammers that
Sure.
exist when there's no accountability there. So we vet the businesses. We choose to pretty much work with businesses that do have established EIN numbers. event hosts as well. We prefer them to have EIN numbers if possible. And then the gig workers are hired just like they would be hired through Uber and Lyft. And it gives people a safer alternative instead of, delivering somebody's food and having your job being risked because somebody accuses you of eating their fries, or, you're trying to make an extra $50 to pay a light bill and you have this strange man, riding around in back of you, you know, 30, 40 minutes, and you're just trying to make ends meet. Well, Revovend gives you another alternative for gig work, is what they call it, in an environment where you can actually learn about things, you can grow, you can network, and maybe even be inspired to open up your own business one day. So it gives people just a wonderful alternative. The key features, some of the core features of the app are the in-app process payment processor. We do run that through Stripe, but basically what it is, you don't have to have a third party app like Square, or if you don't have your own account, you can run it through the app. So um, if the contractor is going to be taking payments for you, all of it can go through the app. So if you're at home and you can be in New York and send some products or send your information to California, and that person could be representing your events in a new market and you don't have to travel. We just introduced a new feature that lowers the barrier of entry into vendor events, table splits. So, sometimes events can be kind of expensive, but
Certainly.
if you just want to get your feet wet and you have a friend that may have some products, you have some t-shirts, they have some candles, you can go in on a table with someone together. So if the table is $100, then you both pay 50. There are a little bit of other fees because there's a membership, but you do get a free trial to try it to see if you can. I mean, if you want to try the different markets, I mean, you have QR code check-ins that happen in the app. So when you hire your contractor, there's an event ID, and there's a QR code that's generated specifically for that contractor, that when they arrive to that event, the host will check them in through the app with their special QR code, verify their ID to show that they're there. Once
Okay.
the uh, once the contractor is there and they've worked their first 4 hours, if the business owner has designated any stipends or any food um stipends or travel stipends midway through the event, that money gets released to them so they can take a break and go get something to eat. Then at the end of the event, the host rates them. They were well spoken, they dressed according to the etiquette requirements. They were
Hmm.
interacting with people, and then they rate them, and then it releases the remainder of their funds, and then the host gets their funds. So when a host takes on a contractor and a business owner to invite them to their event to vend remotely, they also can gain more income opportunities. They can sell that business owner a local marketing package for more visibility at their event and more promotions. They can the business owners do have to pay a supervisory fee to the host for checking in that contractor, and if there's any inventory, they have to pay an inventory management fee for that host, which really only consists of a verified beginning count of any inventory that is sent and an end count. And then once the package is safe and back with the return label that the business owner has included in that package, once that package is, at least has a tracking number that it's been received by the post office and it's on its way back, then they get that inventory fee as well. It is a lot of information, because it's three roles. So
Certainly.
yes, but
Yeah.
the vision, Revovend isn't just about vending, it's about creating freedom for business owners. We're helping entrepreneurs test markets, expand their reach, and build brand visibility, all without leaving home. Again, the nomadic business model.
Mhm.
If you see your product doing well somewhere else, and you may not ever want to have a brick and mortar there, you may not ever want to have a brick and mortar anywhere with the instability of the economy. Because what is the saying? Location, location, location. Well, with Revovend, you're not limited to one location. Vendor
Mhm.
events go on every single day of the year.
Yep.
So there's always opportunity. And it doesn't matter if the host is within the app. If a business owner sees an event that's not within the app, they can put that event in the app, and Revovend will automatically send a proposal email and give them a phone call to say, hey, there's a vendor, a Revovend business owner that wants to vend at your Lollapalooza on May the 20th, 2026. We would like to invite you to the app with the invite code, and this business owner is already prepared to purchase their table from you, and they would like to vend with you. Is this okay with you? And then, of course, the consent would be if they download the app, input the invitation code, that immediately connects the host and the business together in the app once they put that invitation code. Once the host and the business owner are connected, then the business owner can train and hire and train their contractor. The contractor does have to pass an assessment for competency to make sure they understand the product knowledge and agree to the host will also send over a paperwork talking about parking or anything that they may need to know.
Mhm.
um and then once the event goes on, the host checks them in. The event hopefully goes wonderful. Everybody makes money, everybody's happy. And it just gives so many opportunities. And again, I can't express enough how much of a wonderful ecosystem it creates, because now you have trusted contractors in cities that are reliable because their ratings will show it. You have trusted hosts that have great events with great attendance, and businesses are making money, and it shows because they have ratings as well. Business owners don't get rated, but they do have feedback surveys from how well they handled the business, um, how efficient they were on releasing funds. And there's many ways to set up the funds that business owners can either do, like gift cards for the stipends, or they can upload money to the system and it will be released on an escrow, and the host would be in charge of that. So it's a lot, but
Yeah.
it's coming together beautifully. I already have contractors galore in the app. People are excited about having another way, especially around the holidays, to make another quick buck. Um, and the host, it's been a little bit of a barrier because it's such a new concept, and we've kind of
Sure.
had to tweak our model a little bit.
Mhm.
But the
Certainly.
business owners are really excited about being able to test the new markets, and some of them are a little hesitant too, but I promise they'll come around. This is not new to me to bring something new to a community. In 2010, I owned a cloth diaper store, and the way I was able to get my store off the ground, because a lot of people are like 3 generations removed from even remembering anything about cloth diapers.
Mhm.
So my best way to market was through education, and it's going to be the same format with
Sure.
Revovend. But
Sure.
once people understand it and catch on how great of a just a ecosystem, once again, I don't want to keep saying that, but it is, because you're within a community of people, oh, excuse me, who understand vendor events. Because if you are a vendor, you know what it takes to travel. I do have a cost savings calculator built into the app, where you can put in, if you were coming to North Carolina to vend for 2 days, you could put all that information in, how much your table is, how much it would cost to hire someone, and all the fees associated, and it will match it up against what you would pay if you had to travel here, whether it be by car, plane, or bus. and had to pay for lodging, incidentals. So it's going to compare those two, and usually the savings end up being around 40 to 60% savings.
Well, I have
So,
done, throughout my career, I've done events for an employer. I've done
mm-hmm.
them in Orlando, done them in Chicago, done them in San Diego and Las Vegas. Um, in another custom company I worked for prior to that, there was the big annual show in the Anaheim Convention Center in Anaheim, California. We also did a smaller show in Pasadena at the Convention Center in Pasadena. And I know personally what it takes to get 3 or 4 staff members to those events. Now, I would
Yes.
argue some of the stuff I worked with, your model wouldn't work, but
Mm-hmm. Right.
because it's way too technical, you know.
True.
But but
True.
I have been to events like last year I went to the Small Business Expo in Pasadena, California, and I could see, as you were speaking, I'm kind of reviewing the booths I saw, and there were a lot of booths there that could have been handled by a contractor,
Yes.
someone who at least understands business or a level of business that you can train them. And I can see that. I think this is an interesting model. I wish you the best of luck with it because I think it could really help. Um, Especially if you can get into a lot of smaller events that you don't
Yes.
even know about.
Right, and that's who it's for. That's
Yeah,
that's it's for the little people, because like you said, the big corporations already understand they have to hire someone,
right.
and there's a lot of technical things that go into those huge events. So we're not necessarily talking about a tech event where, it's $2,000 a table.
Right.
We're not really aiming for that market, because that market is pretty much, corporations know what they're
Mhm.
doing and they know who to send to those events. But this is for someone who, has only been able to vend in Atlanta, or only go to, just surrounding cities,
Sure.
because their budget, like it would
Yeah.
at some point, it defeats the purpose because you've spent more than you can make at your table.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
what we're kind of eliminating.
Yeah, I get that because that makes sense. Just the travel expense alone and a one night in a hotel can be significant. And not to
Absolutely.
mention you've got meals out and those kinds of things. So
Yes.
yeah, it can be I can see why you're doing this. This makes a lot of sense. And I think it as you've said, it gives a small business owner an opportunity to, and probably in a relatively inexpensive way, to test market products in different parts of the country. Maybe it
Yes.
sells well in Charlotte, but it doesn't do so well in Chicago. Okay,
Correct.
now you can figure out, and if you can get those contractors to give you feedback,
Yes.
yeah, I mean
That's
that
built
is
into the app too. They can
extraordinary
make
marketing
notes.
data.
Yes, that's built into the app too. They can take notes and say, you ran out of this product, or people kept asking for this, or,
Right.
you got compliments or positive or negative feedback. Yes, that is definitely key
Mhm.
to helping them grow the business for sure.
So how long have you been running this organization? I mean, from let's put it this way, from the time that you kind of, not when it first popped into your head, but when you decided, all right, I'm putting pen to paper and I'm building this thing.
Last month, September. September, I said I'm going for it.
Okay. So you've only been at this for at most 2 months and you already have all that technology built in?
Yes, I do, because I was quoted. See, I'm a Taurus and I am very stubborn. I don't know if believe I'm born under the sign of the bull. So when you tell me I can't, I'm going to find a way. And nobody told me that I couldn't do it. They just told me that in order to develop this product, because you want 3 apps in one. They
Right.
told me that's going to cost you $100,000. You need to go to the bank and get a loan before you can even start. You need to pay somebody $60,000 for an MVP, or $30,000 for MVP. But thank God for vibe coding
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
it
Yeah.
is possible if you can think
Sure.
it and you can like get the patience to,
Mhm.
just figure it out.
Mhm.
It can be done. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what it is. There's a lot of people that have no idea what vendor events are.
Right.
So, I probably lost them when I said vendor events. But if nobody takes away anything but this, vibe coding has
Mhm.
changed the absolute world as we know it. If you can think of it, you can bring it. If it's a technology, you can bring it into fruition. It might take a little bit of tweaks, but the time is now. And I was like, I'm not waiting anymore. Like this app again has been sitting in my head for 2 whole years, and I finally found a way to bring it to fruition. And
Right.
yes, all of that technology, I mean, there is still some debugging, and I'm
Sure.
going through
Sure.
constant tests and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But so is Kling.
So,
There's
LaShon.
the AI app where,
Mhm.
people make little motions and little movies and
Mhm.
stuff. They're always testing. They're always updating. So I'm like, I'm not there. There's probably never going to be a finished product because
No.
technology is still going to constantly move forward. So to answer your question, yes, all that technology is there and I built it by myself.
Well, this is pretty funny because my senior year in high school, I took my first programming class,
Mm-hmm.
and we did it on punch cards.
Oh, wow.
You know what punch cards are?
I do not. I can
Okay.
only
They're
imagine.
a card about this big,
Uh-huh.
and they went through a machine, and you sat at a typewriter and you typed the line. Let's just say that you were saying you wanted to do something. So you might say on line 20, x plus y equals n. So you were feeding in x and y, and then you were doing an addition okay, so I had to type in, then I had to tell it what x was, and I had to tell it what y was, and I had to tell it what to do with n. Okay, then I had to feed it into a machine that the computer read, processed, kicked me out something that said you made an error on this line, and I had to go back and fix that line again with punch cards. Okay,
Wow.
that's what I did as a senior in high school. I have written vibe code.
Wow.
Okay,
I
and
believe
I've
it.
had and I've had an IT degree in between. I'm an IT career in between, writing code, and I know you will never get all the bugs out because
Right.
someone will find a way to do something you have never envisioned your application to do, and it will crash. I've seen people do some pretty unusual things when trying to process a payroll
Mm-hmm.
that no programmer would ever look at and go, why do you need to do that? Right? And then they explain it and you go, oh, okay, let me fix that. But it never occurred. Just like
Right.
you're never going to think of everything that someone's going to want to do with your app. But hey,
Right.
I salute you.
Thank you.
That is tough. And I'm glad you just to borrow your analogy. I'm glad you grabbed that bull by the horns and wrestled it to the ground and got your way with it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
It's
terrific,
been so
LaShon. I love
fun.
that.
And salute to you as a developer because I also am a full-time student at AIM, which is the College of Aviation Maintenance. Hopefully in 8 months I'll be a graduate and I'll be a aviation mechanic. I've been in the aviation industry since 2002, but I've been flying as an unaccompanied minor since I was 6 years old. My aunt used to fly me all over the United States. So I've always had a love for airplanes. But I said that to say that we've had to learn in avionics, we had to learn about binary. So when
Okay.
you were feeding that computer those punch cards, I know that the computer was converting that over to binary
Yeah.
code and making it make sense in the
Yeah.
computer
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting times to be able to look back. And I've seen some of the old computer programming boards that look like those old. You've ever seen old movies where the switchboard operator pulls the
Yeah,
plug out and plugs it
that's
in?
what my aunt was, a switchboard operator. So yes,
That's what they would
yes,
do. They would plug these cords in, and that would be the program, and then they would run something. And it's pull it out and switch the cords around and run something else because that was the circuitry. And yeah,
yes.
I mean, I've only seen that. Fortunately, I'm not that old. I probably wouldn't be here if I were that old. But yeah, so the technology has changed. It's allowed people to do things. Um, I think that's great. I mean, me personally, I'm a people person. I loved working the shows.
Okay.
I may I may look you guys up and get on your, hey, I got a guy who's stand at the table for you for a day, and
Exactly.
do that because
Yes.
I like I said, I enjoy talking to people, and I'm I'm pretty sharp on most things.
Yes. I definitely believe that in order for you, like, and I definitely wanted to say I really didn't finish my point because I'm all over the place, and I apologize because my brain actually thinks faster than I can talk
Okay.
sometimes. So,
Hmm.
but salute to you as a developer, because I don't mean to be insulting, when that developer quoted me at 100,000, he was probably actually right if he would have coded that by hand and
Yes.
not, utilize the technology that's here. I do believe that would have been $100,000 worth of work.
Sure.
But vibe coding is coming in so fast. Like,
Hmm.
so now what I'm seeing the shift is, now developers are coming in, and it's very smart business move. They're saying, if you get stuck in your vibe coding app, bring it on over here and I can fix it for you, which is
Yeah.
great because I definitely am going to have a developer. I'm going to hire an in-house developer to kind of still help
No.
and have that human touch to make
Yeah.
sure, the everything stays,
So
cohesive. Because
so here's
even the
what.
vibe, even my vibe code app has broken and crashed my app a couple of times because I didn't know really what to tell it, how to tell it what I need fixed. And there's a certain language that it looks for, and I'm having to learn that language as I
Mhm.
go. I'm having to tell it, um fix the routes and find the vites, and all of these things that I never would have ever even imagined, but now I'm learning it because I have to, because in
Right.
order for me to, it's all about adaptability. And that's
Sure.
what Revovend is all about, being able to adapt. Because let's roll it back to COVID. Not all of the cities and states were really, regardless of what people, how they felt about it, if it was real, if it was, whatever. I don't want to get into semantics, but all I'm saying is there were some cities that still had life going on as if COVID wasn't a thing. So imagine at that time if you had a business model that wasn't, that if you were in an area where COVID pretty much shut your city completely down because of the
Mhm.
protocols and stuff that
Certainly.
mandated, but all
Sure.
cities and states weren't doing that. So if you had an opportunity to still ship your products to a city or an area that was still, not as strict with all of the things that were going on, then your business could have survived in
Sure.
some type of way. You could have still been making revenue. Like, I'll just say, case in point, Florida was not as strict as other states when it
Right.
came to COVID. So if you knew about some events that might have been going on around that time, then you could have shipped a box of your products down there and still had maybe some revenue. Or even if sometimes business owners know, sometimes it's not all about making the dollar. It's about getting your footprint out there and getting people to visually recognize your brand. It's not
Sure.
always about making
Right.
money. And
Right.
that's the thing. So Revovend also in the tools workshop has a workshop that teaches is going, well, a library that is coming. The library is there, but there's nothing in there yet. But we're going to build a library that basically teaches people how to use Revovend, whatever role they're in, how to use it to their best advantage, even, when worse comes to worse, and letting
Sure.
people know that you can't have a business and it's all about money all the time. Sometimes
No.
it has to be about making sure people know who you are in whatever city and state that you go to.
Hmm. Yeah. That's very true. And with the um what you were saying about broken code, I interviewed somebody several weeks ago. She gets called when the website doesn't work and it goes down.
Mhm.
And she's like the fireman of the, some big company, their website goes down, they panic, they hire her to come in, and people like that aren't cheap.
Right.
But they get to the point and they fix it. I mean, but then neither is your doctor when you need, heart surgery. They're not cheap either.
That's true. Yeah, that's
But
true. Yeah, because the developers I know, they're like $100-$200 an hour, and I
sure.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can get
So
one for $100 an hour, you probably ought to grab them because they're reasonable. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about that. You are
Well,
right about
yeah.
that.
25 years ago when everybody was worried about, you know, the end of 1999 and all of the code not working, old COBOL programmers. Now, I had
Yeah.
to learn COBOL in college, so I knew what it was, but I'd never coded in it outside of classroom stuff. Those guys
Mm-hmm.
then, 25 years ago, were getting $125 an hour.
Wow.
Okay. And
Killing
there
it.
was a lot of code to fix, and they had to put a lot of these guys came out of retirement because the money was just too good to
Oh,
pass. You know,
oh yeah.
so like I said, if you can find somebody for $100 an hour to work on your stuff, grab them before he changes
Yeah.
his mind or he becomes sane again.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, LaShon, this has been a wonderful conversation. Man, this is terrific stuff. I wish you the best.
Thank
Um,
you.
what's your website again for anybody listening who might want to look into this?
Yes. So my website is, don't put www, just put https semicolon backslash backslash Revovend, REVOVEND app.com.
Okay, revovendapp.com, and it's an HTTPS.
Yes.
It's a secure website, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All righty. Well, LaShon, thank you so much. And
Thank you for having me.
best of luck with this and with your continuing education and your graduation in the near future.
Thank you. 2026
All
aviation
right. Good
mechanic.
for you, girl. All right. Thank you much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.